Welcome everyone to this video where we're going to be talking about how to avoid pushing yourself too far and avoid burnout that follows it. After many years of chasing the unicorn, trying to perform great in the society and become better than average, basically running like a hamster on a wheel, I finally started to get the taste for the slower pace. I wish it happened to me earlier though. So I want to share this with you. Hopefully it will resonate with some of you. There is this idea that I see very often lately on Instagram, especially among fitness Instagram influencers, is to push yourself. I'm pretty sure it's not just there. Another great example is our corporate burnout culture. If you're not staying up to 9 p.m., well, you must be slacking. And if you have a whole hour for your lunch, oh my god, why do they even pay you money for your job? So it's kind of assumed that you should huff and puff, and nothing in this life is easy. And you should exhaust yourself until you fall on a floor, chair, or couch nearby. Otherwise, you're not doing enough. You're not performing, you're lazy. My, oh my, when and how did we get here? Burnout culture in corporations has a rather long history. People are actually trying to fight it right now, or are at least aware of it. Recently, though, I noticed that my hobbies started drowning in the same toxic attitude, and I was trying to understand, where is it coming from? Why am I pushing myself too far with just hobbies? And it is not that obvious right away how harmful these ideas are at their root. Say, with that example of fitness influencers, after all, you might think they're just trying to motivate their followers, to make them show great results and not to give up. But unfortunately, that's often wrong. Influencers very often just want you to keep following them. That's their job. A lot of times they show us how great and how hardcore and how hardworking they are, because otherwise, why would you follow them? And it's true, in order to get to the level of great people, you do need to put in a lot of work. And let's admit it, who would you follow for your inspiration? Someone who looks like a superhuman and seemingly relentlessly working out? Or someone kinda like everyone else, not too hardcore, nothing special about them? Of course you're going to be following that person who shows how hard they're working and how superhuman they are. So yes, this is kind of a part of a whole marketing idea, and unfortunately this is the world we're living in these days. So that's why you want to become more mindful of all the messages that are coming through to you. You have to be very careful distinguishing between a person who is really trying to motivate you and a person who tries to just soothe you with toxic ideas. Because there are actually plenty of people who really care and put a lot of thought into what they're trying to convey to you. Imagine you're doing some physical exercising and you hear that fitness star telling you not to stop, to keep pushing more, especially if you're not completely exhausted and there's a little bit more reps in you. Will that serve you well? If you keep pushing, will you come out of it stronger, healthier, and better? Even if they make a remark about listening to your body and taking days off when needed, the biggest message that we take away from this is that we are not pushing hard enough. We need to be exhausted, wiped out. We're always told mind over body and finish strong. But that might come with consequences. Let me give you another example. I always loved running, and when I studied at the university, I'd every once in a while go running to clear my mind and just to get some movement going. So my standard distance at that time was 10K, and I never ran anything shorter than that, because I never considered anything shorter than that to be a worthwhile distance for a solid workout. And I also never ran slow. I didn't actually know that you can jog except for a warm-up. I thought if it's a workout, it should be freaking intense. And I ran and my heart rate was always very high. And at the end of this run, I'd be exhausted. I'd be basically wiped out. And I was proud of it. And I thought, look at me, such a hard worker. But for the rest of the evening, of course, I would barely have energy for anything. On the next day, I would still be tired. My body will be trying to recover after that. And the worst thing, aside of course from me eventually having some health issues with my heart, is that when I wanted to run again after a day or two of rest, I'd get so much resistance inside of me, because all of these memories that were associated with running for me were extreme fatigue and tiredness, and I didn't want to go through it again. And I wish I could get back and tell myself that I don't need to end every workout wiped out, that it's not healthy both for the body and for the mind. Only later I talked to a coach, and he said that most of the time you should feel energized at the end of your training, not exhausted. It's much healthier for your body, and later you'll have so much more drive to train again because it feels good, not draining. And what's important in any sort of training or studying is that you do it consistently. And when it's really unpleasant, you will drop out quickly. But when it's actually rejuvenating or pleasant, you will keep doing it. Of course, all of it is not to say that we should never go past our comfort zone. You are supposed to load yourself with some extra work to move to the next level. But that should never be your normal everyday way of working. You don't do high intensity interval training on every day because this will wear you out. You do 1 or 2 sessions a week and that's enough. If you are an athlete competing for a gold medal, you definitely push through all of your mental and physical barriers. But those people, they have special trainers, they have proper nutrition, they have medical people who look after them and tell them when it's too much and when you need to back out. But if you are not an Olympic or competitive athlete, there is no need to exhaust yourself every day. It only creates more opportunity for injuring yourself. And it's not just about training. It could be your work or a hobby that you're trying to turn into your full-time job. Like wearing yourself out by drawing every day and night will most likely end with injury too. I heard many people telling their stories who were going too hard and drawing all the time, and then they had to recover their wrists. Not to mention all the mental health issues of burnout. So you want to think whether you want to be a hero in eyes of others, but lose your spark and your health and your nervous system and possibly all of it at the same time, or whether you just want to achieve your goal. And I know sometimes it might be tempting to push as fast and as far forward as possible to achieve a desired thing, but as experience shows, slow and steady wins the race. You don't need to be a turtle to beat the rabbit, but being the rabbit who is constantly sprinting and stopping to catch a breath and take a nap is not a good pace for winning. Even in athletics, they know that uneven pace wears you out much faster than a moderate steady movement. And since we're touching on the subject of burnout, I'd like also to point that it can start slowly and harmlessly, like the way social media nudges us to put out more and more and more, and it's never enough. It encourages volume, quality, new ideas, new formats. At first it's all nice and good, but then you suddenly realize you can't keep up with it. For an artist who doesn't have a team to manage everything, it is not only frustrating, but it can lead to mental health issues. And the algorithm is not going to pity you. It doesn't care. The only option that you have if you don't want to hire other people to help you manage your content is to set boundaries, to realize what's happening and to be okay with the fact that this is not a race. It is your journey and you have all the right to say no when you feel that you are being stretched too far, when your energy is low, when it's not fun anymore to do what you love. Especially when you're just a beginner, it might be tempting to go extra mile, work extra hours, and it's understandable. Starting is always slow, hard, and painful. We want to get out of it as fast as possible, and often at the start we can ride the wave of initial excitement and get pretty far, but you gotta be really conscious of switching gears as soon as that initial wave of energy is over. Keep in mind that telling someone who is just a beginner to push will only make their chances of quitting higher. So why don't we be kind to ourselves? Let's honor our bodies and minds. Often, pushing on regular basis does not yield that much benefit, not to mention that it could lead to trauma and incidents and even health issues. You can achieve all the great results with much less drama. Your body will thank you, and you will keep your peace of mind. At first, though, it could be hard to switch to this new attitude, to slow things down, especially if you've been a pusher and overachiever for some time now. For example, when I started switching gears, I felt like I'm not doing enough. I thought to myself, I'm not drained, not exhausted, something must be wrong. Bear in mind, though, that you do need to see the difference between good work, slacking, and pushing yourself. We don't want to slack, that's just time wasted. We want good quality work, but without someone, which could actually be just our voice in our heads, shouting at us that you can do more, come on, it's not enough. You will eventually get a good understanding and feel to when you did well, not too little so you didn't achieve anything, and not too much that you are falling apart. And this is a really nice sweet spot when your pace is really good and you get the pleasure out of your work or out of your hobbies every day. And sure, every once in a while, doing extra hard work is good, and we should do it, but don't make it a habit. So that's all, folks. I hope that was good food for thought, and until next time.